Happy Wednesday, winners. It is our favorite day of the week, and you are now tuned in to another weekly episode of the Ladies in Motion podcast, Talk It Out, where we shine light on women that's winning in the local community. I'm your host, Madam Walker, and I'm super excited about today's episode because you get to witness not one woman that's winning, not two women that's winning, but three, including me, women that's winning in the local community. And the ladies that we have today, y'all, they are the founders of the brand Wellness. I always mess this up. Wellness Unleashed. Okay. And they are the poster child of community over competition, because I just found out today that they actually met just a few months before they decided to get together and build up this movement, Wellness Unleashed. So I'm super excited to have you ladies today. I just did that in a nutshell, but I'm actually going to welcome you ladies and have you both introduce yourselves. Okay. And I'm going to start with you, Coach, just because you're who I spoke to first, okay? So welcome to the show, ladies, both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here, and just introduce yourselves, if you will.
Definitely. So my name is Chef Leigh M, and that's pronounced Leigh M. I'm a degreed nutritionist as well as a chef who gets to cook, teach, and speak around the world.
Alrighty, and then over here we have her partner, another woman that's winning, y'all.
So my name is Tonyael, also known as Coach T. I am from Chicago, Illinois, Maywood to be exact. And yes, I do a lot of things, but I am a master certified trainer. I am a mom. I am a corporate girly. I also run a business with my partner, and I'm a newly author too as well. So, and we'll get into that a little later, but yeah, a little bit about me.
Thank you, ladies, so much for being here. I'm just excited to shine light on you. She brought her book today, so she's an author too. And I actually, before this, I said, aren't you an author? And she's like, yeah, I'll be sleeping on myself. Hey, well, today's not the day to continue sleeping on you, okay? So we're going to talk about what both of these ladies are doing today, their upcoming event, Beyond Balance, y'all. And I just can't wait. You know, this is the second annual. Thank you, ladies, for being here all the way from Houston, Texas, all the way from Chicago, okay, to be right here on the Ladies in Motion platform. So again, ladies, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much. We're excited to be here, and the fact that you're having us on this platform with you, we're extremely honored and excited about.
Thank you so much. So also, before I get too deep into it, it is May. Mother's Day just passed, and I always shine light on mom bosses in May. So I think it's super dope that you are like a coach to the moms, okay? Yes. And you are a mom and another mom to be in the works, and she's still here showing up for herself, showing up for her business.
8 months pregnant.
8 months pregnant, y'all, and looking so good, okay? For real. So, ladies, before we get started, do you have anybody that you'd like to shout out? Any business partners, friends, whoever that you'd like to shout out?
Well, I'll go. So we definitely want to shout out our sponsors for our event. So we have Hilton. We also have Fabletics, Black Girl Vitamins, and I'll let Leigh name the rest.
We also have Stella Activewear, and we also have Camille Rose that we want to say a huge thank you, and our YMCA, the Andrew Walter and Young YMCA, for all the kindness and for sponsoring us for sure. Oh wait, I'm also forgetting the WAOK and B103. Thank you so much.
Okay.
As well.
That's what's up, ladies. Shout out to the sponsors. I love that. Y'all are good sponsors too. I love that. Yes. So I can't wait to just hear from you ladies, learn more about you. This season, you know, I've been interviewing a lot of guests that I'm meeting for the first time the date of the interview, you know, so that pushes me outside my comfort zone a little bit, but I've also been told I don't meet a stranger, so I don't know, you know, so I'm just super excited to shine light on you ladies. This platform, you know, if you're watching this and fitness is your thing and wellness and nutrition is your thing and you are trying to just do better in your life, you know, we're taking action in this season. That was our word of the week a few weeks ago, action, you know. So we're taking action in the season, right, y'all? So these are two ladies who are taking action, showing up for themselves, and still moving forward, you know, once they connected, it's been a movement ever since. So I'm super excited to just talk about this. So I always start my interviews just allowing myself to get to know the guests just by knowing a little bit about them first, right? Because you're a nutritionist and a celebrity chef now, and you're an author now, and a wellness coach now. But I like to see, is that what you always seen for yourself? You know, was there? You're right. See, it makes you giggle. So I love this. This is why I like this. I love that reaction. Because even you shared that you were a military brat. So I'm curious to know, like, were the military your plan? Did you have that type of pressure? You know, I'm curious to know who was showing you entrepreneurship and all of that good stuff. So, whoever wants to start, you can go first. But again, in a nutshell, like in the beginning, what was it when you first? And I always like to start it like right when you're stepping into the adult world. So you're graduating high school, you're 19, you're either going to school, you're going to the military. Take me back there, because I'd like to see is what you're doing now, what you envision for yourself then.
Okay.
I'll start here with you, okay?
I like these questions.
Thank you. I'll take a start.
No. To answer the question, this was not what I envisioned for myself. I didn't really have a vision. My grandmother definitely inspired me, was a big, big, big part of my life. Mm-hmm. I thought that I wanted to be a nurse. I wanted to do whatever she wanted to do. Okay. So my grandma was a boss. Like, she actually died like a few years ago, but that's my girl. That's my Flo. Mm-hmm. But she was an entrepreneur. We actually owned a video store in our neighborhood. So that's like, I don't even think Leigh even knew the story. I did not know that. But we owned a video store. We actually owned a balloon business too as well back in the day before it like became like a thing. Mm-hmm. So yeah, my grandma was a boss and she was a nurse. And I actually worked at one of the clinics that she used to work at. Like, I actually like work there for that company now. But that's part of my corporate world. But again, I didn't really know like what I wanted to do. So I went to school. I graduated from the University of Illinois, Champaign-Urbana, go Illini. Okay. Also, I didn't know. I wanted to do whatever my grandma wanted me to do.
And what'd you go to school for? Like, what was your major?
So I got my Bachelor's of Science in Community Health. I knew I wanted to do something in the healthcare field. Okay. So it's actually pretty cool. Every job that I've had something to do with either healthcare or insurance. Okay. So yeah, my corporate job, I actually work as a financial coordinator at a dialysis clinic. Mm-hmm. So that's what I do by day. Mm-hmm. Now, when it comes to my fitness business,
love it.
That was something that was actually sprung up on me because I did not grow up in a household that we talked about fitness. Like, that wasn't a thing. Mm-hmm. My parents were not parents that were in sports or, you know, even pushed us to do sports. It was, if you want to do it, okay, I'll support you. If you don't want to do it, okay, that's you. So my favorite story that I like to tell is growing up when I was in high school and I used to run the mile. Every year I would lie and I would get a doctor's note so that I would not have to run the mile. Okay. So fast forward, I was pregnant. I was diagnosed with postpartum depression and I knew that I didn't want to take medication. And my doctor suggested that I use fitness as a form of therapy. Mm-hmm. At the time, I couldn't really work out. I was doing a lot of walking. But after I had my baby, I hated the way I looked. Like, literally, I would look at myself in the mirror and cry. And I just knew, like, this just wasn't the life for me. Mm-hmm. So fast forward, my first major accomplishment was running the Chicago 10-mile race. Okay. And after that, y'all, I was so fine. I was like, girl, like, who is this? And I just knew, like, I wanted everybody to feel and look like me. Mm-hmm. And yeah, Coach C was born after that.
And Coach C was birthed after that. So I love to hear that because you said you had your grandmother, the OG, I call like the people that inspire me, OG women that's winning. Mm-hmm. Okay, so you had your grandmother, the OG woman that was winning. She was an entrepreneur. She was a nurse. The bloom business, the bloom queen. Before that was bloom queen. And, you know, I love that. So I love to hear that you had that motivation around you because some of us, we've only seen working parents or whatever the case may be. For someone else, which you've seen a good balance. So that's good. That's why you have a good balance.
Actually, you know, I never even thought about that now. That's probably why I do like a million things because she did a million things. Yeah. So it's like a straight epiphany moment right now.
So and it's probably what's normal to you. You know, it's normal for me to have my hands in all these baskets, you know. All right, so I love that. And I'm glad to hear that, you know, Chef Leigh, you learned something new about her just from hearing that. So I want to turn that over to you. You know, when you were stepping into adulthood, you know, what was it that you seen yourself doing? And in my mind, when you said that you were, you know, obviously I know you're a nutritionist and your healthy lifestyle, you know, that you're true to this, not new to this,
Yeah.
you know. But then you said you were a military brat, and I'm like, okay, well maybe that makes sense. Maybe she grew up that way. So I'm here to ask you directly, you know, did you grow up with that lifestyle? Did you want to go in the military yourself? What was your plans for yourself? And is it anything in alignment with what you're doing now, or did you make a complete pivot as well?
So I definitely took a whole pivot.
Okay.
I actually knew that I wanted to be a neurologist since the time I was 16.
Wow.
Yeah, so I had an opportunity. Shout out to Greater Shady Grove Missionary Baptist Church in Columbus, Georgia. They took us on a high school trip and to Tuskegee University, and we got to be in the middle of like a lot of different things, and their allied health program stuck with me. Partnered with the fact that I also have epilepsy, so I am an epileptic thriver, and just partnered with all the things that I went through in life, being an epileptic thriver, as well as being introduced to the healthcare field from an educational standpoint. I just knew what I wanted to be. Fast forward, got married, had some babies, and I realized that I was getting older, and by the time I would have finished medical school, residency, I wasn't going to be in a position to make real money. Like, despite what everyone thinks, doctors do not make money until they're like 15, 20 years really into their practice, unless they're super lucky or working for the right place. And I didn't want to be that person. On top of the fact that I had an experience that made me realize that time and my family meant way more to me than chasing a check, chasing a title, or all the other things that we're taught as Americans to do. So I did not see that at all. But towards the very last couple of, probably like my sophomore, like at the very end of my sophomore year, I realized that I really like food. I really loved helping people. I was always giving people all kinds of information. So I decided to take up nutritionist. And the chef part of me came from, I have 3 chefs in my family. So my grandma, who is my light as well.
Okay, I love that.
She was a lot of things: a barber, a nurse, a chef, a minister as well. And I used to watch her cook all the time. 2 of my uncles were chefs, so it just kind of was inherent in me. And customers and clients would always ask me to cook when I was helping them with the nutritional journey, so I just became a chef.
So that's very, very interesting, because I always do say too that, you know, I'm a firm believer of God always has, like, he places little nuggets along the way.
Yes.
You know, and so you said you always kind of like low-key been in healthcare, like you know, I've always kind of been, you know, in these little fields, and then it's in your blood. You got chefs in your family, and so it's no surprise that, you know, you are kind of in this lane now. Your parents that were in the military, outside of the military, did they pursue any type of entrepreneurship, or were you just kind of seeing that from your grandmother, you know? And I'm just curious to know, just because shout out to my friend, she's the best friend, she's almost Dr. Alicia Miller. Okay, she was featured on the show. She's a travel nurse practitioner, and I love shining light on her and telling her story, because she always say, you know, she's the person that had her plan like mapped out. You know, I'm going to be in this healthcare industry. I'm not going to pursue entrepreneurship because it's too risky. And I like just knowing, you know, this and that. So I feel like maybe with the military background, maybe where you're like, tell me about, you know, that, or were they risky military people and do they have business and a balance?
So military comes to me by 2 ways. So my biological mother married someone who went into the military. So that's how initially I was introduced to the military lifestyle. But I also was awarded the state, and I was in foster care for 7 years of my life. And one of the families that I grew the most attached to, my dad did 36 years in the military. He retired as a sergeant major. And that is how I got to really understand and take a huge liking to wanting to travel the world and being someone who just was out there from that. But the person probably that I got majority of my entrepreneurship from, probably my grandmother and my uncle. My uncle Jeff has been an entrepreneur my entire life.
Is he a chef?
No, he is he's a videographer and a photographer.
Okay.
He has shot some of the dopest people around, and he's definitely like my inspiration on a regular. So I probably got that mostly between him and my grandmother. But like everything else in regards to like wanting to travel and be out there helping people, I definitely probably got that from like my second family.
Okay. And you ladies are both moms, and we are shining light on mom bosses this month. So I do want to talk about that, like you graduated college. How soon after graduating school did motherhood come into play for you ladies? I'm curious to know how soon was that?
So I had my daughter at, well, I think I got pregnant at 24, had her at 25, but I feel like I was 16. Don't ask me why. People try to say like that they'll wait till a certain age to have a baby, and I just feel like you're never prepared. Because even though I was an adult, like I still felt like a child. Like I would call home, I would talk to my mom, talk to my grandmother, call my sister. Like, yeah, I felt like I was like on 16 and pregnant. And
Yeah,
I was showing.
and I was grown, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, so you around 24. So you're done with school during that time.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're done with college, and then you go into motherhood. You start working a 9 to 5. And shout out to my girl Nia Jackson. She was also featured on the show. She's my loctician. She is a salon owner. Shout out to my girl. And she said that motherhood is what like ignited her entrepreneurship journey. You know what I mean? So I'm curious to ask you ladies, because I'm hearing that from so many people, we hear sometimes different stories. I don't know, maybe me growing up, it's like, oh, you don't have kids so young because it'll deter your dreams and you can't do this. But then some people are like, nah, I had my child and that did something to me and it, motivated me. So I'm curious to know, like, when you stepped into motherhood, what was the early stages of that, like for you balancing that? Where did you did entrepreneurship, those thoughts come after that? Or were you already kind of in your entrepreneurship bag and that just kind of amplified it? I'm just curious to know because everyone's story is so different.
Right.
Yes.
Well, I know for me, I didn't step into entrepreneurship until much later.
Okay.
So my children, my two oldest children were 14 and 16
Okay.
when I decided to become an entrepreneur. And at the time, I was literally just a part-time entrepreneur. I went to an event with Damon Dash, and the words that he said just clicked. And so I immediately the next day spent my entire paycheck on all the things that I needed in order to start my business. And it clicked so hard that I immediately started trying to figure out how to make sure that my kids can learn how to be an entrepreneur.
Okay.
So I stayed on like a part-time entrepreneur for a couple of years, and then someone that I was talking to had a gym and was like, I need a cafe. And that was like the wrap.
Love that.
At the top of the pandemic, I opened my very first cafe, and it was the most money that I had ever made as an entrepreneur, and I was all for the things.
Okay.
And my kids got to help me build that. Like my oldest son physically helped me set up everything on the back end. My youngest son did a little bit as well. So for me, it was like it took later for me to really step into being an entrepreneur, but now I would never go back for anything in the world.
No. Okay, so we going to you too, but I just have to ask you a few more things because you're talking about part-time entrepreneurship. Are you referring to your juice business, the cold press? Okay, so Juice the Rainbow, cold press juice. So how did you even turn that into a business? Because even that, it's like, okay, this is my hobby, but it takes a minute to get to, you know what, I actually can do this for a business. Like, I am confident in this, it's walking boldly in our purpose. So this is what, again, this platform is about. I really want women to walk boldly in their purpose, not tiptoe in it. I want you to walk boldly in it, So I'm curious to know your story. You said you were part-time entrepreneurship, selling your businesses, and then you get this golden opportunity, which I love. Congratulations. Even though that was, I don't know how long ago. I love that. I love to hear it. Someone opened a gym and then you putting your juice in the cafe. So tell me just about the beginning of Juice the Rainbow, how they get started. How long were you doing that for yourself in your personal life? Because that's always how it goes. You're doing it in your personal life before you open it up to the world. I'm curious to know that as well.
So personally, I had a young lady that I went to high school with who already had like a brewery and a juice company kind of our own. that she was starting up. So she was like, hey, can I get you to juice with me for 7 days? And I was like, yeah, sure, no problem. Like, I'm always into health and wellness anyway. So I did the juice fast and I loved the results from it. So I started to kind of play around and like understand a lot more about the juicing side of it, since I already had a degree in nutritional food science, and just wanted to understand how to pair them together, making sure that things actually worked for the right reasons. Where there's a lot of juice companies out there that are juicing because they understand how to juice, but they don't understand the science behind how juicing really works and could really be beneficial for clients. So I started to play around with that a little bit, and I started selling it to clients that I had from my nutritional consultations that I was doing. And had this one gentleman who lost like 22 pounds in a matter of 14 days.
Wow, just from juicing?
Just from juicing, because we were targeting exactly what he needed to target in the right ways with the fruits and vegetables. So when I got the opportunity to open my cafe, we put the juices as a focus, and then I also sold a lot of other like healthy foods, also did meal prep and things of that nature. But that led me to being able to work with some really dope brands like Home Depot Backyard and Walmart Health, and a couple other really cool brands. But because of that, it soared to the point where I actually became the largest cold pressed juice teacher in the state of Georgia.
Okay, I love that so much. And how do you keep yourself like on point in this field? You know, like how do you even educate yourself and keep yourself being the best large cold pressed juice business? You know, to even have those titles.
Part of it is just really staying in tune with what's going on. So I watch a lot of podcasts, I read a lot of books. I still have a lot of just knowledge from school, of course. But there's always new things that are arising. So I do like to pay attention to what's going on outside of that. And then I travel the world a lot at the same time. So like one of the books that I have is a cold pressed juice cookbook, and it's Colombian inspired. And the reason for that is because the way that we are taught to juice in America versus in the rest of the world is extremely different.
Really?
Yes.
Like, do you name a difference? I'm just curious. Like,
so in most countries, especially South America, like Latin countries, they do not believe in mixing fruits, vegetables, roots, and herbs. The most that you will get is maybe a fruit and a root or herb, or a vegetable and a root and herb, and that's about it. That is part of that is not only just from a cultural standpoint, but it's also just because when you start to mix certain things, they don't always work the way people think that they should work. So again, it's really nice to have things that taste good, but there is an actual method to juicing. There's an 80-20 split, and it's there that way for a reason. You literally should have 80% vegetables, roots, and herbs, and only 20% of fruits. And it's not about taste. It's about what needs to actually go into your body in order to heal, nourish, or give you the energy that you actually need to make it throughout your day.
I love this. Listen, if you're listening to this, she know what she's talking about. I love that. Just, you said, the science behind it. Most of us, people like me, you don't even realize there is a science behind it. You just think, oh, it's a fruit, it's healthy, let's juice it and drink it, But it's not that simple, So I love to hear it. And for you, I'm just curious to know, you're into motherhood, and you said it was that going through anxiety, having anxiety and postpartum depression that even just got you. But before this, y'all, she stood up and the body is banging. So I can only imagine, like, before a child, and then you talking about after a child. That's what made you even step into it, but you look amazing.
Thank you.
You know what I mean? So I'm just curious to know, again, what were the first few steps of, first of all, recognizing like, dang, I'm a little anxious about this motherhood thing. I am having postpartum depression, and, this is going to be my way out of it. Just tell me what those early stages even look like for you, and then pivoting out of it.
Okay, so for me, I really wasn't understanding what was going on with me. I just knew that I didn't feel like myself. So I have a sister that's younger than me. I'm the oldest of 6. Okay. So my sister actually had a baby first. It's my sister that's right under me, and we're like the closest. Her name is BB. I actually gave her that name because I couldn't say baby when I was little, so she was my BB. Okay. So I remember calling her like, girl, something is not right. Like, I just don't feel the same. Like, everything, and I was a straight baby when I was pregnant. So literally, like, everything that was wrong with me, like, I would call my mama, call my grandma, call everybody, like, They like, girl, stop calling us. You're gonna be okay. This is just a baby. You're gonna be all right. But literally, like, I wanted them to baby me. So I would tell them, like, it's something wrong. Like, I'm not feeling like myself. All I did was sleep all day long. I'm surprised I didn't get fired from work. Like, literally, and they babied me at work too. So literally, like, they would bring me food. We had a room called the Serenity Room. And I would literally go in that room and I would go to sleep for hours. I worked at a call center at the time. I would go to sleep for hours and I would be in that back room. And they'd be like, girl, you got like an hour left on your shift. You got to get up.
You
and
slept
I would
the whole shift.
slept the whole shift. So I'm like, something is wrong. I need help. She told me I went through something called postpartum. I feel like that's what you're going through. I think you should go and talk to your doctor.
Mm-hmm.
So I talk to the doctor, like, look, something is wrong. I need somebody to talk to. The doctor was like, okay, I'm going to let you talk to a therapist. I'm like, I'm black. We don't talk to therapists.
Right.
So again, like, what am I supposed to? I'm like, I'm gonna go to a therapist, and she gonna put me on medication. I don't want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So he was like, well, it's something called talk therapy that you can do, and I think you should talk to her.
Mm-hmm.
Went to the therapist. We did talk therapy. In my mind, when I'm going to therapy, then I'm thinking like, okay, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna sit on the couch, and this lady gonna be writing notes, and that's gonna be it.
Right.
Complete different experience. I went in there, and the first thing I see, like, this white lady, I'm like,
Jesus.
this lady is not going to be able to help me, and she doesn't understand. And literally, this was the best experience I had in my life.
That's what
this lady never took out a pen, a sheet of paper, or anything. Just like we sit on this couch, we had conversations and we talked, and I felt like she knew me. And she literally saw me from my first trimester of my pregnancy till I left Chicago and moved to Atlanta. So it's kind of like we grew together. Like, she seen me until my daughter was 4.
Okay.
Until we moved here.
Dang, and that's amazing. And what I like is, even though you was like, oh Lord, you still didn't be like, okay, oh Lord, I'm out of here. You still went in, and that's very nice. And you said that she was there to guide you up until you got to Atlanta.
Yeah.
That's great. So how do you feel about, therapy and stuff now? Are you like open to that now? Like, if you were to ever feel like you need it, you're open to it because of that experience, maybe?
I am. So I actually, and that's part of my program when it comes to my actual program, we do a method called the Reclaim Method. So the difference between me and other trainers is we start with the mindset first, because I knew that it actually took for me to get my mind right before I can get my body right. And I like what you said about, oh, you probably wanted your old body back. Like, no. I teach people how to be that 2.0 versions of themselves.
Of it.
So again, I feel like my body looks better now than it did before I had a baby.
Okay.
So again, like I tell people, like, you don't chase that old thing. Like, you go and you work on the elevated version of yourself. So that's what I teach the women in my program. So we start with the mindset, which is 40%. Then we move to nutrition, which is how I partner with Chef Leigh, which is the other 40%. And then we go into fitness, which is 20%.
I absolutely loved an elevated version of yourself. That is very nice to hear, especially for moms. Right. Halle Bailey, the celebrity, she just had a baby, and her sister was on vacation. So I seen people like, she posted some pictures. People like, ooh, that baby done did this to her. The baby done did this to her. But, she's looking good. She's embracing it. And she's been like, in the gym, working out or whatever. She posts her workouts, but this is her new body. Like, this is her new body. So I love that you even just said that. And to go back and just right into it, you said she was with you up until you moved to Atlanta. I want to talk about both of you ladies, your move to Atlanta and just being here. Okay, because you came from Chicago, you born and raised Chicago, brought up in that area, and that's where you are now. But somewhere in between, you've been in Atlanta, and then you are in Houston now. But I just found out you were born and raised, what did you say?
Long Island, New York.
Long Island, New York. Yeah, so you was a New York girl, and you had some time in Atlanta, and now you're in Houston. So I want to hear from both of you ladies, what made you even make the move to Atlanta? Like, what was life like right before? Okay. And what made you say, you know what, I'm going to go to the Black Mecca and go to Atlanta and do this and that. I'm curious to see what you ladies' mindset was when you made the move. Because I just bought a one-way ticket here in the middle of the pandemic. And you mentioned the pandemic, I call it the pandemic because it birthed entrepreneurs, people was getting money in the pandemic. See?
Yeah, me too.
So I'm curious to hear about that. So I definitely want to hear you ladies, stories. Number one, just again about the pandemic and all of that. The pandemic and just moving to Atlanta, okay? Your versions of it.
So I actually moved here in 2013. So
Okay.
I've been here for a minute. I've been here for just about 11 years
Okay.
now. But my initial move here was because the company that I was working for and the school that I was granted partial scholarship for Oglethorpe University.
Mm-hmm.
And when my business or the company I was working for found out about it, they were willing to allow me to move to Atlanta so I can go take on a better opportunity. Granted, that's not where I graduated college from,
Mm-hmm.
but that's where it started and
Mm-hmm.
what moved me here. I actually am a graduate of Belhaven University, which is a theological college based out of Jackson, Mississippi.
Okay.
But that's what actually brought me here was being able to move for school.
And you?
I actually did a job transfer. So I have been visiting a best friend back and forth for like years, and I'm like, oh, girl, every time I go out there, it's lit. Y'all having fun. Like, I see myself living out here.
Mm-hmm.
And I kept thinking about this move for like years and years and years, but it was nothing but God because everything like straight aligned. So I was living in my apartment for like so long that my lease was month to month at this time.
Mm-hmm.
And I seen like, you know, a lot of people are just like, let me just up and go. That's not me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I have to have a plan.
Right.
I need to have money. I'm not like, so I've had friends from Chicago that just quit jobs and trusted God and moved here. Bless you. Hallelujah. I'm not doing that because, again, like, I need to have a plan.
Right.
So what I decided to do was I kept waiting because I'm like, I know they got clinics in Atlanta, so I'm going to wait. When I say literally, I was staying with my friend in Vinings and the job was in Marietta. I got a job transfer. I was able to get out of my lease from my apartment within 30 days. The lady loved me. She was like, can you move next week? I'm like, no, but if you give me 30 days, I'm out there. I remember at the time, I was paying just as much for rent as I was paying for my daughter to go to daycare. So free daycare,
Right.
I'm like, oh, we going. So
Right.
again, like, it was just easy. Like, everything, like, aligned. As soon as I got here, you know, being a new mom, I was actually kind of nervous because I had to leave my daughter home, and I didn't know how long I was going to leave her there. I got an apartment in 2 weeks.
Okay.
I went back and got my baby, and she was back in school in January. So,
I love that story. And I'm just curious to know, you know, how did you ladies meet? But before I get there, I'm just curious to know also, you know, what was it like when you first got to Atlanta too? Especially you know, you moved and, you know, things obviously was aligned. It was divine from the Lord. So 2 weeks, you went back, got your baby. And again, before you got secure in the lane that you're in now, you know, I'm curious to know, what was it like for you? You know, like, what was the networking like? How did you even find your lane before you began to even walk boldly in it here? Now, since you're in a whole new territory.
I feel like Atlanta was where I was supposed to be because Atlanta actually birthed Coach T. So when I first came here, I was not an entrepreneur. I actually worked my job, my corporate job that I still work to this day. I do both of my business and my corporate job full time. So got 2 full-time jobs. But again, like, I just, everything about here just screamed Black Mecca, like what it is. Like,
I love it.
It was easy for me to network. I'm more of like a reserve, like, kind of like, I gotta feel you out. I'm Cancer, so
Right.
we ain't just jumping.
One time for the Cancer.
So we ain't just jumping to be everybody's friend. Like, we gotta feel your vibes, know if we really like you.
Right.
And then we mesh when we know other Cancer. So again, when we know other water signs, we like, okay, she cool. I like her earth signs because my baby's a Taurus too. So again, so I'm just like, okay, like, you know, like, just, I don't know, like, when I came here, I just felt like welcome. Like, I mean, it was the South, so it's more welcoming. So again, and no shade towards Chicago or anything like that. But I mean, like, anything that I wanted to know, places that I wanted to eat, people that I wanted to go, like, it was easy. Then going out, like, oh, you kind of cute. Yeah, come sit in our section. Come do that. Okay.
Okay, for real.
So, yeah, so it was just, like, easy for me. Like, I loved it. I loved everything about it. And then, again, like, everybody, like, oh, let me come out here. Let me visit you. So, I don't know, it was like a party to me, like, every weekend. But when it came to my business, the pandemic.
Okay, right.
Is what changed everything because, again, I'm in the house. And I'm just posting on IG these little workout videos, and people start feeling it. And I had decided to get certified as a trainer. I was taking like a few people in my building here and there. During COVID, I went from taking like 2 to 3 people a week to taking 25 people online at one time. I was making more money in my corporate business, and I was making more money in my online fitness business
Mhm.
than I was making in my corporate job.
Wow.
And I'm like, oh, this it.
This
And
is
after
it.
that, I just started surrounding myself around people, networking, doing everything that I was scared of doing. And just like when I moved to, like, everything was just lining up. I was meeting people, I was doing things, I was making money, and been doing it ever since then.
I love it so much, girl. Y'all better clock that, okay? I love that. So literally, COVID, the pandemic really was the pandemic for so many people, you know, and I just love that. I really do. How did you ladies meet? I'm curious to know how you ladies met because again, y'all do you got the Wellness Unleashed together. You got Beyond Balance coming up. I just seen y'all have your event that you just had on May 3rd at the Lenox Square Mall.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like and you know, again, when I pretty much was communicating with you, getting ready for this, but you know, I'm finding out that you was coming from Chicago and she's from Houston. I'm like, dang, how do we even know each other? Or you know, that's what's up though, you know. So I'm just curious to know, how did you ladies meet? Was it at an event? And then, you know, I'm curious to know how the beginning of this event got started.
So I believe she was already kind of working with or talking to Coach Kelly Marie. And I just happened to find her. I had gotten really sick last year. So I was just always on the internet, just scrolling for no reason. But I ran across Coach Kelly Marie, and she just spoke the word of God into everything she did. And that caught my attention. So I started noticing that she was having networking events. And I decided one day to get my butt up and go to one of these networking events. And we were introducing ourselves as a group. And she said some things that I liked, and I said some things she liked. And so I don't remember which one of us reached out to who. But we went and sat down at a Starbucks one day, and we were talking about what it is that we did, our aspirations, things that we wanted to do. She had already done an event very similar to Beyond Balance in Chicago.
Okay.
I had already did really well with working events because of people that I've worked with in the past. So I was like, let's go.
Yeah, like just like that. And it happened like pretty much overnight. I remember vividly at the event, because again, I'm more laid back. I gotta look at these.
Right.
See. I'm like, this girl just talking to everybody. Like, how does she know these people? But that's her.
Yeah.
Like, that's her personality. And me, I'm laid back in the cut, mean mug and looking. So people like, dang, should I talk to her? I don't know. But she was like talking to everybody. Like, I don't care. You can have this stank look on your face. Like, I'm coming. And I, like, to me, like, that attracted me to people because I'm like, okay, I ain't scaring them off, you know, like, but I knew that I was there for networking. And again, being from Chicago, I can decipher BS like a mile away.
Right.
So I can know when somebody is telling me the truth and when they legit. So I can't remember who reached out to who, but I know that we decided to meet at Starbucks. And I'm like, okay, let me go and see what she's talking about. And we sat at that Starbucks for like 4 or 5 hours. And we just, I'm like, girl, I have to go to work. So after that, like after we was talking for a while, then we decided to meet again. I told her about what I did in Chicago. I'm like, I kind of want to do this in Atlanta. She's like, well, why don't we do it? I'm like, how? She's like, let's do it.
We're gonna get it done.
And then, like, she just started connecting the dots. I'm like, okay. And then it literally happened in like 6 weeks, and it was amazing.
So I'm curious to ask, you know, when passions collide, you know, I know when something is my baby, it is super hard to allow others in, right, and allow others to help. So again, you are passionate about something, and then y'all decide to meet at a Starbucks, and then 4 hours later, we are gonna go ahead with this event. So I'm curious to know, like, were you ever nervous, like, oh my gosh, or have second thoughts, you know, like, dang, what if our visions aren't the same, or what if we start this and, you know, we're not passionate or it's not aligned? You know, I'm just curious to know about how taking these two different worlds but colliding it, but still being successful, knowing like, hey, this is her lane, this is my lane, but you know, we can still be in this race together.
It's actually really funny because I know for me, like, no one was ever allowed to have any hands in my business, period. I didn't care who you were, best friends, significant others, children, like, no, this is my baby. But but it was really easy to like work with her. I don't know, like God just really knew what he was doing. I didn't have reservations about working with Tonyael. I didn't feel slighted by working with her or being around her. Like, it just was easy. It was like picking up another sister, honestly. So,
and I got a lot of those. So.
I heard you say you got a lot of sisters.
Yeah, but no, it was just, I don't know how to explain it. Like, I didn't feel the need to do a bunch of research to make sure she was who she was and not the smoke and mirrors that Atlanta likes to do.
Right.
I didn't feel the need to like figure out if she was like a cool person or not. And it's weird because even though like she's not certified in nutrition, she has a nutrition base. Even though I'm not a certified trainer, I have a new training base. And we still never let any of that like get in our way. Like I know my lane, she knows her lane, but we also know how to help one another in each of our lanes without problems.
That's so good. Okay. I love that. So, okay. What is wellness? I want to ask that. What is wellness? We hear that a lot, and then I seen that you're going to be talking financial wellness and, all of these things. So what is wellness? And I'm going to ask, what is nutrition? You know what I mean? Like, what is that? What's the difference between having like a trainer and a nutritionist? Or, I'm curious to know, since that's the lanes that you ladies are in, and whoever can start first. What is wellness? What is that in a nutshell to you? Wellness, overall wellness. And again, what is nutrition?
I feel like wellness for me is a form of self-care. So that's what I try to teach people, because a lot of times, especially with moms and caregivers, when it comes to fitness, they just think working out and they get overwhelmed. And it's just another thing to do on the to-do list. Where when you think of wellness as a form of self-care, you think of something that's fun, that you want to do, whether it be like a hike or it can be roller skating, riding a bike. So that's what I think of when it comes to wellness, is just a form of self-care.
So it doesn't necessarily always have to be a fitness thing. It could be any form of self-care is what you're saying. Exactly. You want to piggyback off that?
I mean, I agree. I'm all things green and outside. So like even for me, wellness looks like traveling across the country. Wellness looks like for me just taking a moment to really breathe and ground, which we're really big on grounding, and recentering ourselves. Like wellness is anything that's going to put your mental, emotional, physical state in a state of peace in order for you to thrive in whatever it is that you have going on. And that's something that we're really, really big on in our personal lives as well as in what we do with our businesses.
And nutrition?
Nutrition literally is your own version of it.
Okay.
Like a lot of people are looking to social media. They look to magazines or books or people around them to figure out exactly what they should be doing in order to thrive with their own nutrition. That's not sustainable. It's not realistic. It's really about figuring out exactly who you are, what your needs are, and how to implement and sustain it when it comes to nutrition base, which is one of the things why we work so well, because we not only are trying to figure out what it is that you mentally have going on or nutritionally going on, but we're trying to figure out mentally what you have going on. If you have a relationship with food, like Tonyael will say, whatever her mama or her grandma put in front of you, you were taught to eat it.
Yeah.
And that sticks with you. And that becomes a lifestyle of overeating because you're taught to eat what's in front of you.
True.
For me, my relationship with food stems from my grandmother. My grandmother was my world, and we had a thing that every single Sunday we went to Burger King. I got a strawberry milkshake, a junior bacon cheeseburger with French fries, and I got a Hershey pie or a Snicker bar. That to me is an emotional connection. So when I'm in a huge emotional state, I'm looking for one of those things or something that's very similar to it. But that may not be necessarily always healthy for me. So I wasn't able to understand that until I understand mentally where I was or emotionally where I was in order to change my behaviors for my nutrition to match what it is that I need. So I think when it comes to even nutritional wellness, it's about understanding your needs and how to get to those needs in a healthy way, whether it's through nutrition, movement, or mindset.
I love that. And that's what this event is about. Okay. See, for some reason, you saying it just now, like you did, it's like something just clicked when you just said that. I don't know what it was. Whether it's through nutrition, movement, or mindset. I love that. That's really good. So tell us about the first Beyond Balance. That's what I want to talk about. So let's talk about the first one. You know, what you met, and then a few months later you decided, hey, this is what we're gonna do, and that was the first one. Of course, we have the second one coming up, y'all. This is coming up Saturday, September 17th. You don't want to miss it. We're gonna drop more details in just a minute. But just take me back to the first one. You know, what was the goal then? And you know, again, what is the goal now? What differences? What can we look for to this year that wasn't at the first year? Is there anything that you learned from the first year that you are like, okay, we're bringing this to next year, or we're not going to do that, we're going to do this? You know, I'm just curious to hear the differences and the preparation leading up to the first year and then now the second year and things like that. Tell me about that. And, you know, speakers, panels, all of that. Give me the rundown.
So the first year, I guess the goal was to just do it in Atlanta. Like, I really didn't have any expectations. I know that I just wanted to do it. I love events. I love educating people on health and wellness in general. So the goal was to actually do it. But the actual event exceeded my expectations because it was everything that I wanted to do in Chicago on a grander scale.
Okay.
So I'm just like, from the people to the sponsors to the visuals, like it was just beautiful and girly and fun, and oh, I want to be there, and like I literally like shed a little tear.
Oh.
Yeah, at the event, because like again, knowing that I can't do this on my own, and literally that's what I was telling her too. Like even after this one, going into our third year, we both live in different states now. She'll have a little one. My baby just turned 13, so we have to expand our team to make it even bigger and better than what it'll be this year. But I'll let her talk about this year.
Okay, go ahead.
So this year we were super blessed to have a conversation with a gentleman from the YMCA. And even though we went in with a whole different game plan, we literally went in there just figuring out how can we potentially partner with them on other smaller events, and maybe see if this was a facility we wanted to use for Beyond Balance. And we were looking to figure out what the cost was going to be. But he believed so much in what it is that we were doing and how much we really wanted to pour into community that they offered us the space and then some. So this year,
Love that.
yes, you know, my older kids are in their 20s, so I don't always remember.
I can't get over it.
I know.
Everybody says that.
Man, this is nuts.
So I forget about like the daycare and looking for someone to watch the kids type aspect. So this year when we got to sit down with the representative from the YMCA, Tonyael was like, we need a daycare. We need somewhere for these kids to go so the parents can not have a reason not to go. So because of Tonyael speaking up, you know, this year we have a kids corner.
Okay, I love that.
Definitely.
So the moms can bring their kids.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Now the cool part is yesterday we just secured someone who also wants to give our little men or the little boys free haircuts.
Okay.
So, you know, they'll be fed, they'll be watched, they'll have games, they'll get free haircuts if they're little boys. So people in the community just really were stepping up because they really understand, like, we're not in this for the money. I mean, the tickets are $15. And a lot of people we just invited, you know, just because we want to give back to the community.
That's amazing.
And they really saw our vision. But we have the kids corner this year. We broke up our panel. We realized last year that our panel was super long.
Too many people. On one panel and it was amazing people that I felt like we couldn't highlight everything that we wanted to highlight because everybody answered maybe one or two questions. Right. So we definitely broke up the panels to two panels to be able to spotlight the amazing ladies that we have this year, like we had last year.
And so what are the two panels? Like, is it subject like this panel is like nutrition and this one is that? You know, like, is it broken up in a certain way, or we're just like, what do you mean two panels?
So we're really focused on 8 pillars of health and wellness.
Okay.
Right. So it's technically one panel is broken into 2.
Gotcha.
Because we, like Tonyael said, we really want to make sure that these ladies get the information they're coming for. There's a lot of events that happen where you have these amazing people that don't get to really get highlighted, people don't get to walk away understanding what they really do. And I say that because we have this one lady that she's not on our panel, but she is highlighting her own segment. She is a powerful punch to me. Her name is Leigh, And I love this lady like so much.
Mhm.
Like she has the best interactive mental health segments ever. But I don't feel like anyone ever gets to really highlight who she is, what she does, and how much she's really out here helping moms. So that's why it was so important for us to split it apart this year, so people can really understand. Like we have all these powerful women, and they have so much to offer. We really need you to hear it. So we have, again, it's our Empower Her panel. It's just broken in two. We have our sound bowl healing class, which Tonyael found this amazing young lady, which is going to physically do a sound bowl healing class with us.
That's amazing.
But the part that I think
I'll be
was
seeing that.
definitely the part that I loved is that so many of us in the Black and Brown community, we steer away from certain things, yoga, meditation, sound bowl classes, because we think it's either satanic or we think that there's something that's something for, you know, the lighter skin
Right.
race to take on, but not for us. And she was very good at explaining to us, like, I am able to help these women understand that God is still in the middle of this.
Right.
What else? We get to speak as well.
Okay, so you didn't speak like the first year?
Not individually. Or did we? Yes, we did. Kind of lightly.
Well, have a little on the panel, and then we had our own segment. So
yeah.
Yeah.
What else? We have Miss Bree Harmon, who is very well known, not only in Atlanta, but across the country, who's hosting it, which is super awesome. You know, when you are reaching out to very powerful, influential women and asking them for their time, that means a lot. Seriously. Especially when, you know, we've been in Atlanta, but I don't think people really knew who we were. So to be able to network with these ladies, and to be able to get them to understand like what we're out here trying to do, and for them to be like, yes, yes, that means so much to us. So we're excited about having her be a part. And then as vendors and as entrepreneurs and businesswomen as ourselves, we really wanted to make sure that we put a nice focus on our vendors as well, where a lot of people are pulled between, do I do a segment, do I listen to the panel, do I get to shop, do I get to network? So this year we're very intentional about making sure that there's a vendors moment where everyone gets to network and be within the middle of them. We have a spa corner and all the things.
That's amazing.
So yeah,
very intentional.
yes.
If you're listening, you don't want to miss this. It's going down, y'all, this Saturday, May 17th, 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Yep, at the Andrew and Walter Family YMCA here in Atlanta, Georgia. I want to talk about your book. Okay, she has 2 ebooks. Okay, she has 5 steps to sparking joy and kickstarting your fitness journey, right? Yes. And managing your time and your workout and your meals. But we want to talk about this one right here, Happiness Reclaimed. Tell me about the process of, you know, leading up to writing this book. Okay.
So I actually went to an event in July, and I spoke on a panel, and everybody at the event was authors, and I didn't even think that I was gonna write a book at all. Like it just didn't even cross my mind or anything like that. But I wound up speaking to one of my coaches. Her name is Coach Taria, and at the time she was just telling me how I can actually like tell my story in my book, and that this could be something that I can actually, you know, tell people about in my coaching program as well. And I mean, like, I had my head down to the ground, y'all, and I was done with this book like within a month.
Really?
Yes. And I love the fact, like, again, I intentionally made the book a short read because, again, as most moms and caregivers, we don't have time. So this book is short. You can read it in like 2 days. But again, it's just, it talks about my journey through postpartum, how I actually reclaim my own happiness. And then also it actually even gives you the steps of my reclaim, which is the 40-40-20 method.
Okay. And I love that. And where can we get this book? You know, where can we follow you and just stay in connection with you?
So you can follow me on Instagram. My Instagram is Tonyael, Tonyaelm. And then also there is a link in my bio for the book. And you can also get the book on the website. And the website is happinessreclaimed.com.
Thank you so much. And I'm going to turn this over to you because you have a spoonful of health. And I want to just talk a little bit briefly about that. And I also been talking a little bit. You're going to be featured in this event in July, the Neurodivergent Conference in New Orleans. And what I love about you ladies, y'all be working. You know what I mean? I've been following y'all be working. I hate that I didn't write it here, but you were featured on the podcast recently too.
I was in Women's Health Magazine.
I'm about to
And-
say, I'm about to
and-
shout it out.
Yes,
for you, girl.
shout out Women's Health Magazine. She's been featured on the podcast. Y'all, these women are winning for real, and they really are working. You know, again, what does that mean to you? Just be featured in Women's Health Magazine, all the way from Chicago, mom. But you know, making motion in your own lane. I love that for you. You know, what does that mean to you?
Wait a second. I just want people to understand. We're not talking about Women's Health Magazine online. Like she has an actual printout. You went to Barnes and Nobles and she was
Okay.
printed out on this magazine.
I
Y'all.
love that. And shout out to you giving flowers to your girl. For real. I love that. Thank you.
Wait, and I forgot y'all. So I had realized this was actually my second magazine feature because I was featured in Oxygen magazine for like a transformation back a couple years ago. So I say God doing His big one because
Yes.
I feel like every 2 years something happens. So this gonna be my break year because something big gonna happen next year.
Okay.
Man.
Touching
Yeah.
and agreeing.
So
Two or more in the room. So we cool. Okay. And
So as far as me,
a spoonful of health.
so a spoonful of health
Mhm.
is started off as just a blog, honestly.
Okay.
And then, like I said, I went to an event with Damon Dash, and it turned into something bigger and greater from there. But the reason it was chosen, or that name was chosen, is because I wanted people to understand that you want to get health and wellness a spoonful at a time. Can't give it all at the same time. You can't give it like, you know, these church people out here, we trying to talk about Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. Gotta sit down and just like that is my Lord, my Savior. Like you can't take that away from me, but you also have to know how to give people God a little bit at a time.
Mhm.
And it's the exact same thing. You have to know how to give people health and wellness a little bit at a time.
That's
So,
real.
that is where that came from. So with A Spoonful of Health, that is my overall umbrella brand.
Okay.
And underneath that brand, I am a chef who travels around the world, and I get to cook as with doing that. I also have a biblical-based journal that is digital-based at the moment. And that journal was something that God gave to me directly. He told me to help people understand how to implement my word into their everyday life. So that particular journal allows you to basically clock down all the things that you're doing, how you're feeling. But there's specific words every 2 weeks that you are to pay attention to, and there's scriptures every day to match that word
Okay.
to be able to understand how to implement God's life into your, or God's word into your life, which then is what birthed my Kindle line. So I have very 4 specific words that I think are the most important and powerful, which is praise, communication, faith, and endurance.
Okay.
So each of my candles, you have a burn time of 2 weeks for an hour, which is usually you take about an hour to journal. And it helps you just sit in the presence of God, sit in the presence of your intentional time on what it is that you're trying to work through in life. And the cool part about it is it also doubles as a body oil.
I love that. So what do you mean double? Like we could use this?
Like literally, as the wax melts, you can take some, pour it in your hand, and oil your body all
Well,
down in the presence as well.
Look at that. I absolutely love that. And you're going to be at this neurodivergent conference in July. You know, again, I said these women are winning and they be moving, you know, Chicago, Atlanta, we in Houston with it, you know, we're everywhere. Women's Health Magazine, you know, we are making moves. So I love that. Can you tell me a little bit just about that conference, just briefly on that?
Definitely. So I have had the pleasures of running into an amazing lawyer who used to be a part of the Morris Brown College education team. And we hit it off, and she works very heavily in the neurodivergent space. So for those of you who don't know what neurodivergent stands for or means, it's for any of those who have ADHD, who have who have epilepsy, like anything dealing with the neural side and it not being what's quote unquote known as normal, that space. So I'll be teaching a session on how nutrition helps in those different spaces. So for instance, a lot of people don't understand that carbs can be really great for you, but they can also be really harmful for you, especially in the neurodivergent space. So I'll be teaching a session on how neurodiversity is impacted with your nutrition.
Okay, I love it. Educating our people. Shout out to you women, seriously. Educating our community, you know, You know, I said that after this week, after this interview, I'm gonna do better with fitness. I have a love hate relationship with fitness. I really do.
That's
But
why you got to make it part of your self care routine. Because again,
something.
yeah. And you got to find things that you enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I try to teach people too. Like again, a lot of people say like, "Oh, I want to look like you. I want to do this. I want to do that." I always didn't look like me. I always didn't feel like this. But it's become something that I enjoy. I enjoy working out. Like it's like second nature to me. So I try to get people to find things like that they actually like and that they want to do. Like you have to find what works for you. That could be bike riding. That could be hiking.
True.
That could be taking a walk. For me, walking calms me. It senses me. I like to say I don't want to walk on the treadmill. I need to be outside.
Right.
So again, like those days, and it's actually funny too because that reminds me as well. Like even for my mental health, like that just takes me back to when I was pregnant. It would bring me peace if I would go outside and walk. So even like now, just going from being in Atlanta to when it's warm, to going back to Chicago to when it's cold, and I'm like thrown out, and I'm like, I have to be outside. So now that I'm outside, I feel more peaceful. I feel more calm. I feel more centered. So again, just finding your thing, what you like to do.
That's one of the cool things about working with us. Like I think at some point earlier you asked the difference about what we do, or kind of along the lines of what we do versus what others do, and even in the training space. It's that not only just do we work with on the mindset, but we are so busy trying to understand who you are that it just comes off different, because we want to understand so much of who you are in order for us to be able to help you figure out what movement's going to work, what nutrition plan's going to work. Is the mental health therapist that we work with going to be the best option for you, or do we need to pass you on to a lot more in order for us to still work with you? We're very transparent. We don't push on anything that we do on you. We really are here to truly help you to be able to get to the better version of who you are.
You 2.0.
That's right.
So we're about to wrap up. Thank you, ladies, again so much just for being here. And just dropping your gems, walking in your purpose again, so others can maybe watch what you're doing and be inspired to walk boldly in their purpose, or get up out of whatever funk they're in, or just do it. Working out is cool once I get going, but it's that initial I hate the soreness part. That's the part that always gets
But
me.
if you're consistent, it'll go away.
And we talking about being consistency, okay? Being consistent. So that leads me to my last questions. Thank you. I was gonna ask, what do you ladies hope that you are showing your children, your kids, just by being consistent in the space that you're in this journey with your business, with yourself? What do you hope that you are showing them? Your 13-year-old daughter, your grown children. I can't believe still. Okay, but yes, what do y'all hope they are getting from you ladies, seeing y'all walk again boldly in your purpose, follow your dreams, walk in your passions?
For me, it's really always been that they can do anything and everything that they ever want to do. It doesn't matter how long or how old you are. It took me 13 years to get through school. And that was part of that was because I was focused on my kids and not just myself. So for all of y'all out there who think that you cannot get through anything, you can. It may take forever, and that's okay, because at the end of the day, I want my kids to know that my mom may have taken 13 years with school, but she has her degree. My mom may have taken until I turned 16 to start her own business when my mom did it. That's all I want my kids to know, is that anything that they want to do, they can do it.
She stole my answer.
Same thing, pretty much in a nutshell.
Pretty much. I mean, like, even for me, just being a role model and just showing her every single day, like, it's not easy, but if you want it, you can do it. You can literally do anything. And even like I try to, just teach my daughter like positivity about the mindset. She's into mental health, so she'll be like, oh, I want a therapist. But I don't want her to feel like that taboo that, oh, something has to be wrong with you to see a therapist. But again, like, having yourself focused and centered and having your mind what's supposed to be, you can literally conquer anything in any area of your life when your mind is where it's supposed to be, whether that's financial, spiritual, fitness, nutrition. Like once your mind is there, that's the strongest muscle that you have. So once you work that muscle, everything else will fall into place.
Such good words, ladies. Just to wrap this up again, just where can we follow you ladies individually? Wellness Unleashed, what kind of services you offer right now is the moment, just services. Where can we follow you? How can we stay in touch? Everything. Right now is your moment.
Well, you can follow me at Leigh, Leigh _ plain and simple, because that is me. I'm Leigh Plain and Simple. Or you can follow my business page at ASOH, and that's ASOH Lifestyle.
You can follow me on Instagram. My name is Tonyael, TONYAELM as in Mary. So again, Tonyael, my first name, my last initial. Also on Facebook, Tonyael M. And then I also have a website, Tonyael or fitbytm.com. So that's fitbytm.com.
And then make sure you guys follow Wellness Unleashed on Instagram, Wellness _Unleashed _ on Instagram. Please let us know your website, services, and everything else.
Definitely. And now for Beyond Balance and everything Wellness Unleashed, we put all of our events on our website, and that is Your Wellness Unleashed. So that's your YOUR Wellness WELLNESS Unleashed UNLEASHED.com.
All right.
So you can find everything that's there. You can actually find both of us from that as well, but definitely make sure you tap into Wellness Unleashed and everything that we have going on there.
Thank you so much, ladies, again for coming again all the way from Texas, the great state, and Illinois. Thank you, the great state. I really do appreciate you ladies being here. If there's nothing else you got to say, we're gonna wrap this up. Cool to go. Make sure you ladies, if you're gonna be in Atlanta, you ladies and gentlemen, if you're gonna be in the Atlanta, is it for men too, your event?
If they're a caregiver, yes.
Okay,
definitely.
yes. And the boys getting free haircuts. We got a caregiver in the room. So make sure you be there Saturday.
Not September, y'all.
Not
'Cause we're not gonna be
September.
there in September.
No.
So for a second, we will have Wellness Unleashed in October in Chicago.
Not in September though.
Okay, well that's what's up. Okay, so listen, right now, if you're in Atlanta, going down this Saturday, May 17th, 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Again at the Andrew and Walter Family YMCA in Atlanta, Georgia. It is going down. Wellness Unleashed is dropping their event. They're having their second annual Beyond Balance Mindset, Nutrition, and Movement event. Y'all, you do not want to miss it. And you just heard it here first. In October, it's also going down in Chicago.
Yes.
Beyond Balance Chicago, y'all. So if you can't make this one, you need to make this one. You got another opportunity to travel, which is also part of wellness and self-love. Go all the way to Chicago, my girl's stomping ground. And just, again, just be well and get well, okay? So if you tuned in, thanks for tuning in. Make sure you share this video. Someone will be inspired, motivated, and empowered by today's session from these winning ladies. And I'll just see you again next week. Bye.
Bye.